Welcome to this week's edition of Top 10 in 10, brought to you by The Watch Post. Each week, we cover 10 important stories unfolding around us in these last days in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, the Watchwoman at her post, also known as The Lookout. This is episode 105 for the week ending Friday, April 17th. In this episode, we talk about how the seas and waves are roaring, economic woes, earthquakes in diverse places, the beast system rising with the help of AI, dangers from space, a scandalous action by the Pope, and of course, the war with Iran. Let's get the countdown rolling. We begin with significant weather-related headlines. Story number 10. Global weather extremes signal a world in distress. From the American Midwest to South Asia and Africa, the planet is facing a surge in severe weather with devastating human costs. Major flooding has hit China, Turkey, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the Philippines. In Nigeria, officials warn that 33 of the country's 36 states face an elevated flood risk in 2026. In the Jammu and Kashmir region, 4 days of torrential rain triggered floods and landslides that cut off roads and buried infrastructure. Similar flood disasters were also reported this week in Liberia, Ethiopia, and Tanzania. The central U.S. was battered by severe thunderstorms, large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, flooding, power outages, and evacuations. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers declared a state of emergency as forecasters warned that flash flooding could continue. Why it matters? The growing frequency and intensity of these disasters fit the broader picture of a world under mounting environmental strain. Millions may be displaced when storms destroy roads, homes, crops, and power systems. These disasters echo the distress of nations and the roaring of the sea and the waves, described in Luke 21:25. Number 9. Super Typhoon Simaku explodes in the Pacific. This massive storm has officially become the most powerful one of 2026, intensifying with explosive speed as it approached the Mariana Islands earlier this month. Simaku has shattered previous records for rapid intensification. Satellite imagery shows a storm of historic proportions, with wind speeds that have left meteorologists stunned. Why it matters? Again, we return to the roaring of the seas. The increasing intensity and unpredictability of storms are part of the fearful sights and natural upheaval promised in the last days. Number 8. Global high temperatures over the last 12 months breaks record high. New data released this week by NOAA confirms a sobering milestone. The period from April 2025 to March 2026 was the warmest 12-month period in the history of the continental U.S. March 2026 smashed heat records globally, with temperatures in places like Phoenix exceeding 106 degrees Fahrenheit as early as mid-month. The World Meteorological Organization reports that sea surface temperatures have also remained at record highs for 11 consecutive months. Why it matters? The warming of the earth and the resulting environmental instability are consistent with the scorching themes mentioned in Revelation. It contributes to the economic distress of nations through crop failures and resource scarcity. Number 7. Disturbing trends with mass layoffs at major U.S. companies. Job losses stemming from AI integration continue to climb as major companies have recently announced significant layoffs. Oracle cut around 700 jobs as the company pours money into AI infrastructure and cloud expansion. UPS plans to eliminate up to 30,000 jobs this year as it reduces volume from Amazon and shifts toward higher-margin business segments. Tech companies Snap and Block have also reduced staff, with some divisions seeing cuts as high as 40%. Meta is considering a 20% reduction in workforce as it too redirects spending toward AI infrastructure. Earlier this year, Amazon cut about 16,000 jobs to restructure around automation and AI. All the while, inflation is now at 3.3% year over year. Why it matters? Rising inflation, energy shocks, layoffs, and AI-driven restructuring are converging in a broad economic squeeze. Families face higher prices while employers reduce headcount. How much longer until it takes a day's wages to buy a loaf of bread? We now move to the significant earthquake activity that's taken place this past week. Number 6. Global seismic spike leaves the Earth in tremors. Our planet is experiencing a dramatic surge in seismic activity, with a flurry of earthquakes rattling regions from the Aleutian Islands to the western U.S., raising concerns among geologists. Last Thursday, global monitoring stations recorded a staggering 1,208 earthquakes within a single 24-hour period. This massive seismic spike included a magnitude 6 quake near the Aleutian Islands. Northern California experienced a notable earthquake swarm this past week, including a cluster of smaller tremors in the Geysers region. Activity culminated Monday with a magnitude 5.7 quake near Silver Springs, Nevada, close to the California border. The quake was felt across western Nevada and into parts of northern California. No widespread damage was reported, but concerns about seismic vulnerability along fault systems tied to the Walker Lane region has been renewed. It's worth noting that the western U.S. has seen elevated earthquake activity in recent years. Why it matters? The uptick in shallow quakes and the jump to higher magnitudes highlight a deepening instability in the Earth's foundations. These recurring tremors align directly with biblical prophecies, particularly Jesus' descriptions of the beginning of sorrows, birth pains, and earthquakes in diverse places. Before we move on, I'd like to remind you to subscribe to the channel and be sure to hit the bell so you don't miss a beat. Also, please don't forget to like and share. With the next two stories, we return to news about the AI systems that are paving the way for the future system of the beast. Number 5. The rise of the AI Panopticon. Tech firm Axonius and automotive giant Stellantis have partnered with Microsoft and announced a major expansion of AI-driven exposure management and cyber-physical asset tracking. In simple terms, these systems are designed to identify, monitor, and secure every connected device, machine, vehicle, employee account, sensor, camera, cloud app, and industrial system inside a company. For Axonius, the new rollout uses AI to automatically detect security gaps across computers, phones, cloud systems, factory equipment, medical devices, IoT sensors, building controls, industrial robots, and other connected tech. The system can then recommend fixes, assign issues to the right teams, and in some cases, automatically correct the problem without a human ever touching it. For Stellantis and Microsoft, the announcement focuses on using AI across the entire automotive ecosystem. This includes AI-powered vehicle design, predictive maintenance, cyber threat detection, and factory management. But what's concerning is the customer data tracking and connected car monitoring that are included. Story number 4. Ubiquitous surveillance and the crisis of control. The Council on Foreign Relations and various tech monitors are highlighting a growing crisis of control in the AI industry. Reports continue to emerge about authoritarian governments using AI for ubiquitous surveillance, systems capable of monitoring citizens in real time through facial recognition cameras, internet and phone monitoring, transaction tracking, social media monitoring, predictive policing, biometric databases, vehicle tracking, and smart city sensors. These systems track where people go, who they talk to, what they buy, what they post online, where they travel, how they spend their money, and whether their behavior matches what the government considers acceptable. In some countries, AI surveillance is already being used to identify dissidents, flag risky behavior, monitor religious groups, suppress political opposition, and restrict movement. Why it matters. These systems create a world where nearly everything can be monitored in real time. Every device, machine, vehicle, every employee account, customer interaction, and every network connection. Watchmen warned that this is the very AI-driven infrastructure that will enable the surveillance economy, where every facet of modern daily life will be monitored, controlled, and even punished. Before we talk about the latest dangers from space and Pope Leo's recent scandal, we return to the Iran war for a brief update in story number 3, the fragile U.S.-Iran-Israel peace deal and changes with Lebanese relations. While the 10-day ceasefire is still in effect, President Trump said late Thursday that Iran has now agreed to hand over its enriched uranium stockpile and reopen the Strait of Hormuz to end the war. As of noon on Friday, CNN reported that Iran has declared the strait now open, but according to the New York Post, Trump has continued the U.S. blockade. It's unclear whether an official agreement has yet been signed. Closely related, Lebanon and Israel held rare talks this week in Washington, focused on a possible ceasefire with Israel, as well as border security and reducing the power of Hezbollah. Israeli officials are hopeful that if Hezbollah weakens and Lebanon moves away from Iranian influence, a future peace agreement could eventually become possible. Many speculate this could mean Lebanon will sign the Abraham Accords. Why it matters? This development echoes warnings of the Apostle Paul, who said there would be last days talk of peace and safety, but then sudden destruction that would come. Story number 2. G2, Geomagnetic Storm Watch, an opening in the heavens. An enormous coronal hole on the sun has rotated into an Earth-facing position, causing NOAA to issue a G2 moderate geomagnetic storm watch for Thursday and Friday. When a coronal hole opens in the sun's magnetic field on an Earth-facing side, a high-speed stream of solar wind escapes to wash over our planet. These solar storms can disrupt power grids, interfere with satellites, and impact radio communications. This one is also expected to bring stunning visible auroras into Canada and the northern U.S. Why it matters. Many watchmen include auroras and other solar-related activity in the prophetic category of signs in the heavens. And finally, for our number 1 story this week, Pope Leo raises concerns about a one-world religion. Earlier this week, Pope Leo embarked on a historic apostolic journey to Africa, making his first stop at the Grand Mosque of Algiers. This visit, a first for any pontiff to Algeria, has ignited a firestorm of debate, raising profound questions about ecumenism, interfaith dialogue, and the future of global religious blending. The Pope was welcomed by the mosque's rector, Mohammed Mamoun al-Qasimi. In a gesture of respect that shocked many outspoken Christians, the Pope removed his shoes and walked through the prayer hall in white socks. He then stood before the mihrab in silent meditation, facing the Qibla, the direction of Mecca. He later described the mosque as a divine and sacred space and a place that represents the space that belongs to God. He also signed the mosque's Book of Honor. Some reports say he used the term communion to describe the spiritual bond between Christians and Muslims, claiming both are united under the maternal love of Mary. He reportedly did not kneel, bow in Muslim prayer, or actively participate in Islamic worship. Why it matters, this news has drawn sharp criticism from conservative Catholics, evangelicals, and prophecy watchers, many of whom perceive it to be part of a broader move toward the future one-world religion under which mankind will be forced to worship the image of the beast. That's it for this week's edition of the Top 10 in 10. Leave your thoughts about this week's stories in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Until next time, stay in the Word, keep your eyes on Jesus, and pray continuously. May God bless and keep you all. Watchwoman signing out.